Black screen, single cursor blinking. Text types itself out slowly. What if I told you that right now on the internet, ordinary people, your neighbors, your coworkers, maybe even someone sitting across from you at dinner, have confessed to things so dark, so deeply unsettling, that thousands of people who read them couldn't sleep that night? Not criminals, not monsters, ordinary people. Reddit has always been the place where people go when they can't tell anyone the truth. They create a throwaway account, type out their deepest, darkest secret, and hit send, hiding behind anonymity like a confessional booth with no priest. But some confessions, they don't stay hidden. Some of them go viral. They get screenshotted, shared, debated, and dissected because what they reveal about the human mind is too disturbing to look away from. Today, we're going to walk through 4 of those confessions. Silence for 2 seconds, and I'll warn you now, by the time you finish watching this video, you will see people differently. Stay with me. Channel logo intro, then transition to dark narration backdrop, anonymous figure at a computer screen. Welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome to the channel where we go deep into the stories that the internet whispers about, but rarely has the courage to fully examine. These are not fictional horror stories. These are real confessions, real words typed by real human beings, posted anonymously on Reddit, in forums where people go when the weight of their secret becomes too heavy to carry alone. I've read through hundreds of these posts. I've studied the comment threads, the psychological breakdowns, the moral debates they triggered. And today I'm sharing the 4 that I believe are the most psychologically disturbing, not because they're gory or violent, but because of what they reveal about the choices human beings make when no one is watching. If you're the kind of person who values depth, who wants to understand why people do what they do, this video is for you. Let's begin. I watched my best friend's life fall apart, and I was the one who started it. Fades in. Dark room visual. A man typing alone at night. Our first confession comes from a Reddit thread in r/offmyceast. The post has since been deleted, but not before it was screenshotted and shared over 40,000 times. The original poster, let's call him David, was a man in his early 50s. He wrote this confession after what he described as 23 years of carrying this alone. 23 years. Here's what he said. In his own words, dark screen. Text appears slowly, word by word. I was the one who told my best friend's wife that he was having an affair, but I didn't do it to protect her. I did it because I wanted his life, his house, his career, his wife. I was jealous of everything he had built, and I used the truth as a weapon to destroy it. Let that sink in. He didn't lie. He didn't fabricate anything. He told the truth, but his intention was devastation. Within 6 months of David making that phone call, his best friend's marriage was over. His friend lost the house, lost shared custody of his 2 daughters, spiraled into depression, and eventually alcoholism. David watched all of it happen. He attended the divorce proceedings as emotional support. He helped his former best friend move out of the family home he had coveted for years. And here is the part that made Reddit erupt. He wrote, and I quote, "The worst part is I never even pursued the wife. I never took anything I had destroyed his life to get. I just needed him to not have it anymore." That sentence generated over 6,000 comments because it touches something deeply unsettling about human psychology, something psychologists actually have a name for. It's called destructive envy. Unlike regular envy, which motivates people to want what others have, destructive envy is driven by a darker impulse, the need to move another person's happiness, not necessarily to claim it for yourself. Studies in social psychology have consistently shown that this pattern is more common than most of us are comfortable admitting. Research from the University of Cologne found that a significant percentage of people, when they cannot obtain something they desire, will choose to destroy it rather than allow someone else to keep it. David's confession didn't just shock Reddit. It opened a mirror because the comment section wasn't just outrage. Hundreds of people replied saying, "I have never done this, but I understand the feeling." And that, perhaps, is the most disturbing part of all. Screen slowly dims transition card. What does this teach us? What can a person of wisdom take from this? Here is the lesson that David's confession teaches. Beyond the shock, the most dangerous betrayals in life don't come from enemies. They come from people who smile at you at dinner, stand at your wedding, and silently build a case against you in their hearts. Protect your peace. Be careful who you allow close enough to know exactly what you value. And if you ever find yourself feeling relieved when someone else loses, sit with that feeling. Examine it. That impulse left unexamined has destroyed friendships, careers, and families for millennia. I raised another man's child for 16 years and never said a word, but I knew the whole time. Title card fades in. Clock ticking visual. Family photo on wall silhouetted. This next confession came from the subreddit r/TrueOffMyChest. It was posted at 2:47 in the morning. A detail the original poster mentioned himself. He said he could only write it when the house was completely silent. The man who posted this, I'll call him Marcus, is 61 years old. He had been married for 34 years. He begins his confession like this. Text on screen. Slow fade. In, I have a son. He is 16 years old. He is the best thing in my life. And I have known since the day he was born that he is not biologically mine. Marcus explains that 3 weeks before his wife became pregnant, he had undergone a routine medical procedure, one that, as a side result, temporarily affected his fertility. His doctor had told him privately. When his wife announced the pregnancy, he did the maths. He knew, but he said nothing. He held his wife's hand in the delivery room. He cut the umbilical cord. He took the first photograph, and then he spent the next 16 years being, by all accounts, a dedicated, loving, present father. He coached Little League. He helped with homework at midnight. He drove to every school play, every football match, every hospital visit. He writes, "People ask me what my greatest achievement is, and every single time I say his name, because it is the truth. He is my son in every way that has ever mattered to me." Now, the reason this confession went viral and why it sparked a debate with over 9,000 comments is not the secret itself. It's the question that came after. At the end of the post, Marcus wrote, he turned 17 in 3 months. I have decided I will tell him the truth on his birthday. I need advice. Was I wrong to wait this long? Was I wrong to stay? I still don't know. Reddit broke into 3 camps immediately. The first camp said Marcus was a hero, that he chose love over biology, presence over pride, and that his son was lucky beyond measure. The second camp said Marcus had committed a slow, quiet form of deception, that his son had a right to his medical history, his biological identity, his full story, and that withholding it was a form of control disguised as love. The third camp, and this is the one that silenced everyone, pointed to the wife, because in the entire confession, Marcus never mentioned confronting her, never mentioned whether she knew that he knew, whether the affair partner was aware, whether she had been carrying her own secret for 16 years. 2 human beings, in the same bed, in the same house, raising the same child, each possibly knowing the truth, and neither saying a word for 16 years. What does this story teach us? This is where the wisdom lives, and it matters deeply for anyone who has ever made a decision to protect someone they love at personal cost. Silence is not always deception, and truth is not always kindness. But here is what the research tells us. Studies on identity development, particularly in adolescents and young adults, consistently show that how we learn difficult truths matters as much as what the truth is. Children who discover hidden family secrets accidentally through a document, a DNA test, a slip of the tongue suffer significantly more psychological harm than those who are told directly, with love. At an appropriate moment, Marcus waited. He chose his moment. That choice, whatever you think of it morally, may have been the most protective thing he could do. The real lesson is this: the heaviest things we carry in life are rarely our own sins. They are the secrets we keep to protect the people we love the most. I reported my own brother to the authorities, and I would do it again. Dark hallway. Single light at the end. This confession is different from the others. Where the first 2 confessions left people debating the morality of the poster's choices, this one left Reddit almost completely silent, because this one is about courage, the kind of courage most people hope they will never need to have. The post was made on r/confession, and it came from a woman I'll call Ruth. She was 54 years old when she wrote it, a grandmother, a retired school teacher. She begins, text on screen. 8 years ago, I called the police on my own brother. I gave them everything: dates, locations, names. I watched him get arrested from across the street. He looked for me in the crowd, and I did not look away. Ruth's brother had been running a financial scheme targeting elderly people in their community. People in their 70s and 80s who trusted him because he was charming, because he went to church every Sunday, because he was family of people they knew he had taken their savings, their pension funds. In some cases, the entire inheritance they had set aside for their children, the total amount, over $900,000 across 11 victims. Ruth had discovered what he was doing 18 months before she called the police. She writes, "I spent 18 months trying to convince myself it wasn't as bad as I thought, trying to find a way to stop him that didn't involve destroying him. I talked to him twice. He cried both times and promised to stop. The third time I confronted him, he told me that if I went to the police, I would tear our family apart and our mother would never recover." She called the police 6 weeks later. Her mother did not speak to her for 4 years. 2 of her siblings cut contact completely. Her brother sent her a letter from prison that she says she has never opened. And yet, she writes these words, "I have thought about that decision every single day for 8 years. I have never once wished I had made a different one. Not because I don't love my brother, but because I sat with one of his victims, a 79-year-old woman who lost $47,000, who cried and told me she didn't know how she would survive the winter. After that, my brother's tears meant nothing." 9,000 comments, overwhelmingly in her support. But here is what struck me, and what struck thousands of Reddit readers in the final lines of her post. She writes, "People keep telling me I was brave. I don't feel brave. I feel like I did the minimum that a decent person should do. And I'm disturbed that doing the minimum felt so impossibly hard." That last line is perhaps the most psychologically profound sentence in this entire video. She is not celebrating herself. She is mourning the fact that doing the right thing, the obvious thing, required her to sacrifice her family relationships, her mother's love, her brother's freedom, and she is disturbed that what she considers the bare minimum of human decency felt almost impossible. Social psychologists call this the bystander effect. In its extended form, the well-documented human tendency to hesitate, to wait, to hope someone else will act, even when we know what must be done. This effect becomes even more powerful when the person who must act is personally connected to the wrongdoer. Ruth overcame it, but it cost her everything she feared losing. The lesson here is sobering and essential, especially for those of us who are older and have more to lose. Doing the right thing and doing the comfortable thing are almost never the same thing. The gap between those two choices is where character is built or quietly abandoned. The one that changed Reddit forever. I spent 11 years pretending to be someone I was not, and the person I lied to most was my self-mirror reflection, blurred face, slow zoom. I saved this one for last, not because it's the most dramatic, not because it involves crime or betrayal in the conventional sense. I saved it for last because of all the confessions I have read in this dark corner of the internet. This is the one that stayed with me the longest. This confession was posted by a user who identified himself only as a man in his late 40s. He called the post simply, "I wasted my own life, and I need to say it out loud." It received over 200,000 upvotes. It was shared outside of Reddit more than any confession post I have ever come across. Let me read you the core of what he wrote. Text appears line by line, slow, deliberate for 11 years. I went to a job I didn't choose, stayed in a marriage I should have ended kindly in year 2, lived in a city I moved to for reasons that no longer existed, maintained friendships out of habit rather than genuine connection, and told myself every single morning that I would make a change. Tomorrow, next month, after the kids were older, after the mortgage. After the confessions I've seen on this forum are usually about things people did. Mine is about things I didn't do. I didn't leave. I didn't speak. I didn't choose. And one morning I woke up and I was 47 years old, sitting in a kitchen I didn't like, in a house I didn't want, next to a person I had quietly failed for a decade. And I realized that I had been so afraid of disrupting other people's lives that I had completely forgotten to live my own let it breathe. The thread that followed this post was unlike anything I have seen on Reddit. It was not outrage. It was not debate. Please kindly stay. Turn for the continuation of the story. Thank you for watching. If this kind of content speaks to you, if you want more of these deep dives into the human stories that the internet tries to forget, subscribe. There is so much more where this came from. I'll see you in the next one.